can we please welcome to the stage our first providers of the evening, the fabulous Locke and Hannah Robbins.
So, yeah, we're going to be talking about a lot of apples tonight, but actually I don't want you just to think about apples. I want you to think about every single other fruit that we could possibly grow in our gardens. Cherries, nectarines, peaches, hazelnuts, the list goes on. This is me when I'm 4. Can I have an R? Little did I know, I was a budding permaculture gardener then, and I was exposed to fruit tree growing from a young age, as you can see. At that time, I actually lived in New York on the 25th floor in a concrete jungle, but every other year went to my grandfather's apple farm that he only started farming when he was 60. So this led me on in my late 30s to start teaching food growing, and I did lots of community gardening, and I got into permaculture and the transition town movement. So I started to passionately teach people about food growing, and what I realized after going to estate gardens, teaching alcoholics, going to schools, community centres, and all kinds of different community settings was that, myself included, we all didn't really know how to grow food. So that's, if we now fast forward to 2022, we set up Town Grown here in Hastings. That's myself sort of coordinating and teaching food growing, but more permaculture food growing. There's Ursula, who has done these amazing slides and does all our design. There's Hannah on marketing and Vicky Cook on horticulture. So I don't know if we're going to get a chance to say a yay to Ursula for all the slides, but I think we should do it now. And the whole concept is we're a food growers network, so we're just trying to look for anybody in town who wants to grow food, whatever stage of the journey that you're on, and we want to connect everybody together and then put on things that are useful in terms of your food growing journey. So the whole idea is that we just try and make everyone better at growing food. And we're an offshoot of Transition Town Hastings, and that is basically where we're just about food growing. Transition Town Hastings is about everything else. So it's about renewables, it's about energy, it's about transport, and local economics and insulating houses. So Transition Town is all about transiting from oil-based to sustainable societies. So we probably are in transition right now. So yeah, we get funding through them, and it's really from the National Lottery, and it's the Together for Our Planet funding stream. So basically what that means is that we are a climate change project, and we're about local resilience and community food. And yeah, so that's what we've been doing this year. And in the pandemic, I actually wrote a book about permaculture gardening, and it was a response to the fact that everybody suddenly woke up and they were like, shit, there's nothing in my garden that I can eat. And everyone started to grow food. So I thought I'd write the permaculture gardening version, so that is organic food growing, making an ecosystem, and growing that enhances biodiversity and other creatures in our garden. So I kind of wanted to make a manual of that kind of gardening. And when I was writing, I had this kind of muse. It was like imagining the whole town when you strip it away of all the houses and trees, and what you get left is the fruit trees, and just thinking we're already living in orchards. And so I kind of worked out, I'm not going to actually go through that slide, but I kind of worked out that, you know, if everyone just planted one tree who could, and say 4,000 people planted that tree, we'd have a hell of a lot of fruit here in Hastings, and that would be more resilient. So what we first did in Town Grown is you may have seen us out on the market stall, and we surveyed everybody that came to chat to us, and we got this lovely infographic, which I never get tired of looking at. And the key things really is that 65% of people are actually novices or aspiring. And so, you know, that's a big solid foundation of people to aim new workshops at. And also 74% of people are growing at home. So when I saw that and put those two things together, we decided to spend the rest of our funding on a winter campaign, which is what we're really talking about tonight. And that campaign is called Our Town is an Orchard. And so this is why we've put ourselves through this, because there's so many people here that we haven't seen or talked to about our campaign. So we just want you to tell all your friends, if you can plant a fruit tree, please plant a fruit tree this winter. And also give fruit trees as Christmas presents, because they make wonderful presents for your family and friends. And to engage with this campaign, all you have to do is every single tree that you plant, just put the tree, your postcode, it won't be your actual house, but at the end of this, and we want as many trees as possible to be planted, we're going to do a map. So, and that will be our new orchard. So I'm going to hand you over to Hannah now. That's my bit. Here you go.
We could talk about fruit trees for days, but I'm going to rattle through a few fruity facts that might explain why we're really passionate about growing fruit trees, but especially apples. So we've lost about 80% of our small traditional orchards in England and Wales since 1900. Small traditional orchards are massively culturally and socially important in our history, being quite a focal point for seasonal festivities around the year. Apple orchards obviously sequester an awful lot of carbon dioxide, and they can act like little green lungs in urban communities to improve air quality. They're also amazing habitats for all sorts of native and sometimes endangered species. A couple of key characteristics about apples is that they have quite early blossoms. That's a great source of nectar when other food sources might be really scarce, so great for pollinators. They are also, most fruit trees are actually also early senescent, which means they take on characteristics of much older trees when they're actually still quite young. So they'll be quite craggy, gnarly, little areas of natural dieback, can provide dead wood, early hollowing, so again supporting lots of invertebrates, rare mushrooms, and all of the other ecosystems that they then in turn support. Apples are actually quite exotic. The family tree of the apple has been plotted on a whole genome level, but also across the world map. I will skip over that because it all gets quite complicated, but because of the way that apples were transported along the Silk Road with early travellers, early traders dropping apple seeds growing into trees cross-pollinating with all sorts of different wild varieties of other fruits, of other apples. We've got a huge variety of apples that can grow in all sorts of different conditions around the world. There are 7,000 different recognised varieties of apple. 2,500 originated in the UK, so we were punching above our weight for a while, but now, sadly, only 30% of eating apples bought in the UK were actually grown here. We've got 3 varieties that were created in Hastings. These all came from the same farm just outside Orr. They were created between the mid-20s to the 1940s, I think was the most recent. I won't go too much into propagation of apples because it could go on for hours, but apples are an example of extreme heterozygosity. So you can't pick an apple, plant it, grow a tree and hope to then produce the same apple. So much like humans who are also heterozygous, you can't predict what your children are going to look like, even if you know the parents. But the randomness and the diversity is so much more extreme in apples, so they have to be grafted. So that is a process which is essentially selecting your apple variety that you want to reproduce, grafting it onto a rootstock, like we have here, and the rootstock dictates the size of your final apple. So this is a beautiful Braeburn that Anna and I picked up from the wonderful Harbour Nursery this morning, grafted onto a dwarf rootstock, because it's coming home with me for my small garden. It's going to stay in a pot, and it won't get much taller than what we've got now. You can graft multiple different apples onto one rootstock. You can even graft different species of fruit onto one trunk. So this started out as an art project in America called the Tree of 40 Fruits. It's all sorts of different stone fruits, apricots, almonds, nectarines, all growing on this one trunk. And it's now being used as a teaching tool to help us get away from monoculture. We use an awful lot of land to just produce one crop type, so you've got lots of very similar plants all competing for exactly the same resources at exactly the same time. Instead, you've got massive yield, very small piece of land. Another thing that has been guaranteed to improve yield is the ancient art of wassailing, which is where local singers would come and recite incantations and sing songs to their local orchards to guarantee a good crop. So I'm going to introduce our wonderful singers from Rattlebag, who are going to come and bless our new tree.
Well, hello everyone. We are Rattlebag. Should I say hello again? Hello everyone. We're passionate about sustainability, climate change, biodiversity, like saying heterozygosity as well. But really, we're really passionate about singing. We're really passionate about apples. We're really passionate about apples that get made into cider. So with that in mind, we're going to teach you something that we do in Hastings and around Hastings, and that's called wassailing an apple tree. And there's a chant that we have to sing at the tree, and the tree is then going to, all the bad spirits will flee away, and all the good spirits will come to the tree, so it will be a bountiful crop the following year. So, if you wouldn't mind indulging us, I'm going to teach you what to say, and if you say it to us, we'll have one practice and then we can actually do it. So it goes like this. Stand fast root.
Stand fast root.
Bear well top.
Bear well top.
Send us all a howling good crop.
Send us all a howling good crop.
Every twig, apples big.
Every twig, apples big.
Every bough, apples enow.
Every bough, apples enow.
Hats full, caps full, 3 bushel bags full.
Hats full, caps full, 3 bushel bags full.
And a little heap under the stairs.
And a little heap under the stairs.
And after that, you have to do a whole load of shouting, and if you've got anything that makes a noise, you need to make some noise by going, huzzah! That's brilliant. So now we'll do it properly. So put all your attention on the tree. We brought one to show you what they look like in winter without leaves.
Usually we put a libation on it as well, don't we?
Yes, we do.
A
Yes.
libation and some toast in the branches.
Okay, here we go then. Ready?
Stand fast root.
Bear
Bear well top.